A young woman recalls her master's words about the course of fate being controlled by one's effort, and she is determined to change her life around. The show starts off with an argument between a small, noble family. The father has decided to marry his daughter off to the prince, whom they aren't on good terms with. The girl begs her father to find an alternative way to cancel the wedding, but he hardly has any choice as the emperor himself has arranged this marriage. Moreover, her father had promised young Shang that she would have the choice of choosing her own husband, so she is now bewildered that her father is asking him to head into a family she doesn't even like. Yun worries that with her gone, there won't be anyone who will take care of her parents. Her mother consoles her and urges her husband to find some way to cancel off the wedding. Suddenly, her mother reveals that she isn't their only daughter. Since her other sister was cast out of the family, her mother thinks it is the perfect opportunity for her to be of use to them, while her father feels that they will have to face severe consequences for it. However, her mother's argument wins him over and he decides to go with it. Yun Shang also agrees to this and believes her good-for-nothing sister will finally do something good for her. They switch their names and identities since the emperor has asked for the eldest sister and sent Yun Zai, her younger sister, instead. Later, when she arrives at the palace and awaits the prince in her room, Yun Zai eventually gets bored and tells the servant to notify the prince to hurry up. The servants tell each other how their master is called the King of the Night for various reasons and feels like Yun Zai is going to taste the medicine soon enough. Suddenly, the chef starts talking to them, and she confuses him with the prince. While he talks about the recipe he is preparing, she gets weirder ideas and starts worrying about her first night with the prince. As she is hiding beneath the table, the prince doesn't find her upon his arrival and reveals that he already knows that her father agreed to this marriage to contain him. However, he only has one person in his heart, and he will soon marry her. He instructs his servants to move her out of the palace and send her to the Silent Pavilion instead, a place brimming with ghosts. After the prince goes away, the servants quickly check up on the bride and assure her that the prince is just drunk. However, Yoonxi is more than happy about it since she won't have to remain confined in this place. She starts dancing with joy, horrifying the others. Afterward, a servant takes her to her new home, the Silent Pavilion, and she's immediately irritated that Princey intentionally did send her there. She has to clean the whole place by herself, but Yun has a trick up her sleeve. She summons her ghost, Nuomi Tang, who is enraged that she forgot about him after marrying into a rich family. However, after seeing her condition, he realizes how unlucky she is and decides to help her. After setting up the furniture and other stuff, they head off to the kitchen to make something for themselves. However, it is too far away and she has to wear the guise of an assassin to go there. The prince encounters her, but she doesn't recognize him and assumes him to be a bodyguard. He exceeds her expectations by catching her, but she uses a smoke ball to her advantage and gets away from there. On her way back, Yun resolves to carve her own destiny through her efforts, though she still has to spend the rest of the night in hunger. The following morning, Yun isn't happy with Tang abandoning her at midnight and wants him to make it up by playing with her. As he swings her, they are overheard by a resident of the palace who is curious to know who is bold enough to play here in such daylight. However, upon seeing Yun, all of his rage soothes and his heart is brimming with joy to have laid eyes on such a beautiful lady. Yuzai Mo, the second prince, introduces himself to her and wants to know her. Just as she is about to reveal her name, Tang forcefully stops her, preventing any sort of confusion from emerging. Yuzi insists that she tells him her name, and after much begging, she finally decides to reveal it. However, he is tricked and she tosses him away before escaping. Meanwhile, Prince Yub is taking a bath when the servants bring Yuzi and instruct him to enter it. Yuzi tells him about the new maid who has arrived at the palace and wants his brother to give her to him. Prince Yu agrees and gives him all the new ones since he doesn't know the specific one's name. Afterward, they discuss the rebellion that has been taking routes in the empire, and Prince Yu orders him to eliminate any threat that might interfere with their progress. Yuzi teases him by bringing up the subject of his marriage, but he assures him that he hates the new bride before going away. On the other hand, Yoonxi is enjoying the gentle warm breeze and starts singing aloud verses of a poem. She hears a reply, and after following the voice, she is astonished to find that it is a horse. The horse laments that she cannot spend time with the prince as the other doesn't visit her anymore. Yoonxi assures her that she will be better off without the prince, but the other tells her that replacing a master isn't easy. Yoonxi wants to know her name, but Meisha the horse is ashamed of her name as it means demon. Yoonxi decides to name her Ziwei and becomes her new owner. While she is riding the horse, the caretaker of the horses, Zio, appears and stops her from going on a ride as the horse belongs to their prince. He lies that Ziwei belongs to him, and she wants him to demonstrate this by getting on top of her. He fails badly and is embarrassed about it, but she cheers him up. Later, when she returns, she orders her ghost to bring her some food, but the other isn't listening to her because she left him behind. Suddenly, a low-level spirit decides to haunt them, but becomes the haunted himself, and now he has to serve them meals. Yoonxi has a nightmare about her aunt being treated badly by her parents and decides to give them a visit wearing a guise. Meanwhile, Yuzi complains to her brother that he still hasn't given him the new maid. During the meeting, it is revealed that Yoonsi's father, Kwon Aoshin, is involved in the rebellion. Yoonsi heads off to the town to meet her aunt, and on her way, she stumbles upon a market selling a variety of rare items. Well, not exactly rare, but she falls for everyone and ends up getting scammed into buying an ordinary pot, labeled as the best defensive unit. Afterwards, she is tricked into buying a lottery and a rare chicken, which is supposed to help her against bad guys. A beautiful girl is passing through the town and everyone gathers to admire her beauty. However, a thief manages to steal her purse and Yoonsi gets the opportunity to utilize her new stuff. After she gets lost chasing the thief, Tang advises that she use another artifact she bought, but it proves to be useless. After a bit of thorough search, she manages to catch up to the thief and instantly knocks him. He begs for his life, but she can't hear him with his face all swollen and beats him up further. With no choice left, he uses one last attack up his sleeve to get away from there, but he accidentally hits her ghost and she rages at him. Prince Yu's ship is passing through the area and he recognizes the smoke. Since he believes her to be the assassin from before, he instantly stops her and is about to break her neck when his lover, Kin Wan, the pretty lady from before, tells him that she is the one who helped him. She explains the whole situation, but Prince Yu still wants to interrogate her to know her true motives. However, by the time they notice, she has already escaped. Tang, the ghost, reveals that he felt his powers being sucked when he was near Prince Yu, and the other ghosts also feel that way. Prince Yu believes that the assassin was sent by Aoshin, who was involved in the assassination of a general. He commands his soldiers to search every corner of the city to search him, but Yuzi and Wan stop him as this is a rash act, and they have no proof whether the assassin is involved. Meanwhile, Yoonsi is still enraged that her own husband almost killed her, and the ghosts tell her that it is her fault that she couldn't even recognize her own husband. She stumbles upon a restaurant whose owner mistakes her for a guy and is immediately attracted to her. Ryo Yan takes her inside the hotel and offers her a free meal, alongside a body massage. Yoonsi wants to enjoy the rest of the day being cared for like this, but Yan soon leaves when a nobleman and his servant cause commotion outside. Ran recognizes them and tells the waiter to arrange a room for them. While they are eating, the nobleman Ian Kane forces Ran to sit with him while orders his servant Zemo to spend his time outside. On the other hand, Yoonsi is done eating and is on her way back when she stumbles upon their room and finds that the guy is forcing himself on Ran. He instantly stops her and Ran starts feeling bad for her. Yiking is irritated that Ran cares more for her and challenges her to a fight, but is no match for Yoonsi and is thrown away. Suddenly, Zemo attacks her with kunai, but she dodges it and decides to run away. Even though she dodges the weapon in midair, she is distracted due to her guise being wasted and is about to fall down when Prince Yu sees her and jumps to save her. He is surprised that she is wearing the same clothes as the assassin and feels like she is connected to him, but doesn't ask anything. Yuzi recognizes her and wants to take her away, but much to everyone's surprise, Prince Yu also shows an interest in her. Yiking is revealed to be another prince, and Yoonsi is bewildered at her luck for running into 3 princes on the same day. Yuzi takes her with him and orders his servants to clad her in the most beautiful garments. While she bathes, Yoonsi makes a plan to escape later. Yuzi wants her to spend some time with him, but he receives a notification that Eunice has arrived and he heads off to attend the meeting. Once he is away, an unknown party kidnaps Yoonsi. Meanwhile, Prince Yu has started an investigation on her and finds out that she is actually the girl he sent to the Silent Pavilion. After a tiresome meeting, Yuzi heads back to his palace, looking forward to spending some quality time with his new concubine. However, he is greatly disappointed to find that she isn't there, and after looking here and there, he finds her Jade, concluding that she has been kidnapped. On the other hand, Prince Yu can't take her off his head and doubts cloud his mind that she is sent here by Aoshin to collect useful information on him. Suddenly, he bumps into his younger brother, Yuzi, who suspects that he is the one who abducted her. He clears off his name by showing his Jade, and the two decide to pay the Crown Prince a visit. Meanwhile, Yoonsi wakes up in the Crown Prince's chamber, and Yinking informs her that he is taking her by force, simply because he wants to meddle in Yu and Yuzi's life. He reveals a rare pair of earrings and tells her that these will belong to her on the condition that she stays at his palace. Yoonsi recalls her aunt telling her about the exact same earrings, as it is the only pair in the whole world. She wants to know how he got his hands on them, but he avoids any explanation and just tells her that he has good connections with people. His consort is enraged that he is forcing himself on a random girl, and before they can argue, Prince Yu and Yuzi are here for Yoonsi. Baking plays dumb by telling them that he has no idea, but they have already seen his lies. When they enter the room, they are shocked that she has once again escaped their grasp. Meanwhile, Yoonsi packs her stuff and is ready to head off to meet her aunt. The ghosts are tired and disappointed that they won't get much rest. Yoonsi and her colleagues arrive at the Prime Minister's state or father's state, but she finds that the entrance is blocked as a certain esteemed guest is paying Aoshin a visit. She manages to find a secret path and finds it pretty hard to get into, prompting her ghost to point out that she has gotten fat. She is here to return the earrings to Zhu as they belong to her and stumbles upon one of the maids, Kwe. After she recognizes her, she takes her to a room, and the maid explains that ever since her departure, their life has been hell. Moreover, Zhu isn't in the state and was sent somewhere else as a harsh punishment. Her mother quickly knocks on the door and takes the maid away. Yungxi decides to confront her father, but even after introducing herself to the guards, they aren't letting her in as they don't recognize her. Tang asks why she was so distant from others, and she responds that ever since the age of 7, she was sent to the mountains to train alone as no one liked her being here. She suddenly spots an opportunity to get inside the palace and kidnaps one of the maids so she can steal her outfit. As they are waiting outside the hall, one of the maids mistakes her for a new maid and advises that whatever she does, just avoid making any mistake. Prime Minister Aoshin invited Li Beiding, leader of the Western tribes, to formulate a rebellion and take control of the empire. After the maids get inside to serve the guests, Yungxi notices that Beiding isn't laying his eyes off her, and one of the maids accidentally slips. Aoshin feels disrespected before his guest, and since Yungxi saved her, he decides their punishment. Yungxi cannot believe that her own father isn't recognizing her, and suddenly her older sister, Young Shang, walks in and telling her father to go easy on them. Beiding also pleads in her favor, much to Yungxi's amazement. Yun Shang is enraged that he keeps observing her while completely ignoring her. Later, while she is chatting with the ghosts, she begins talking about Beiding, and the other suddenly pops up behind her. She doesn't want to talk to him, is about to walk off when he grabs her. The ghosts try to help her, but they don't have enough power to even hurt him a little, but they give Yungxi a chance to slap Beiding and get away. Meanwhile, Prince Yu's guard has managed to find her location, and he now believes that she is Aoshin's spy, immediately heading off to pay them a visit at their palace. Yungxi wants to know about the whereabouts of Zhu and decides to confront her parents again. However, this time she stumbles into her younger sister, who doesn't recognize her and tells her guards to punish her. Leaving her no choice, Yungxi veils off her identity, and the other still has no respect for her since she was raised in the mountains. She takes her to her room to punish her and tells her how unfaithful she is for running away from Prince Yu and eyeing Beiding. Yungxi mocks her that in case the prince finds out, she will be the one to be blamed as Yungxi has borrowed her identity. Suddenly, her parents barge into the room, and she instantly demands that they let Kwe go with them and find the whereabouts of Zhu, as well as treating her. Her stepmother tries playing the victim card, but Yungxi tells her that she is responsible for her mother's passing as she played a role in setting her up for an unknown crime. When Yun Sheng disrespects her mother, Yungxi immediately slaps her, enraging her father, who decides to flog her. Meanwhile, Prince Yu arrives at the palace, and although the guards aren't allowing him, he enters forcefully. Aoshin is about to punish Yungxi when he stops her and tells them that he is here to pick her up. They apologize to the prince, and Yungxi sees this as a perfect chance to make a request of her father to lend Kwe to her and gives him 10 days to find Zhu. Since he cannot decline her before the prince, he complies with her demand. Beiding is keeping a close eye on her and is looking forward to meeting her again. On their way back, Yungxi is happy that she will be reunited with her maid once again and thanks Prince Yu for his assistance. Lady Chu, one of Prince Yu's concubines, is enraged that he neglected her and rages out at her servants instead. The other concubines tell her about the new princess consort, Yungxi, and she decides to get her revenge since she believes Yungxi is the reason Prince Yu isn't giving her enough time. The next day, while she is going to the palace, she finds Yungxi playing with her maid in the garden and decides to push her into the water. However, Yungxi's luck plays out in her favor, and Chu pushes Kwe in rage instead. Yungxi decides to ignore her out of respect and walks away when she stops her and tells her that a flower on a servant's head is against the rules. Since she has the authority to punish others for breaking the rules, she commands her maid to hit Kwe, and the ghosts trick her into slapping Lady Chu herself. Prince Yu overhears the commotion and decides to check up on them. Lady Chu tells him that Yungxi is practicing witchcraft as she was the one who got hurt instead of her maid. Prince Yu tells Chu's servant to punish her again, and after making sure Chu won't be hurt, she viciously slaps her. Yungxi pushes her away to stand up for her maid, and due to defying the prince, she is subjected to spend 3 days in prison. Lady Chu instructs her servant to make sure no one brings her any meals. Later, while they are locked up in the basement, Kwe tells Yungxi to not take everything too far and to learn patience. The ghosts bring them a meal, and Tang reveals that Prince Yu's certain ring eats off all their power, making them unable to be of help to her before him. On the other hand, Lady Chu is serious about exposing her sorcery and commands her servant to invite all of the famous priests. Prince Yu instructs his servant to investigate Yungxi. Yungxi is locked up when the maids arrive and forcefully change her clothes and tell her to head into the carriage. Having no say in the matter, she gets on the carriage only to find Prince Yu awaiting her. He quickly teases her by pulling her up and telling her that husband and wife should get together more often. He doesn't reveal where he is taking her since he wants it to be a surprise. Meanwhile, La Shuang, Prince Yu's younger sister, and the others are awaiting their arrival, and she is especially looking forward to meeting Yungsi as she is the new favorite concubine of her brother. Upon their arrival, she doesn't recognize Yungsi and thinks of her as a maid. La Shuang is astonished that Yungsi ordered a chair for herself, and just as she is about to complain, Xiao introduces Yungsi to her. Prince Yu reveals that they are here for La Shuang's birthday celebration as she is old enough to marry now. After Yungsi heads off to the restroom, Xiao reveals that she has tamed Meisha the horse, much to Prince Yu's amazement. Turns out the restroom was just an excuse so she could find an orchid to present to La Shuang. After asking a flower fairy for her suggestion of a good birthday gift, she presents her with a rare Jizzy orchid and tells her that the person is sure to like it. Later, before the celebration begins, everyone presents their gifts and Yuzi reveals that they are all gifting for the sake of demonstrating their powers. Prince Yu, Baiting, and Aoshin's gifts stand out the most, and the latter two reveal that they want to mend their relationships with the Empire. Just as the celebration is about to begin, Yungsi's stepmother comes up on the stage, demanding that Yungsi present La Shuang with a gift as well, trying to mock her. However, much to her astonishment, Yungsi has a gift ready. The night before the princess' birthday, Baiting and Aoshin plan that they have to make the emperor open the paths to their nation for trade. They feel their rebellion will be successful that way and they can take over the empire easily afterward. Presently, Yungsi assures her stepmother that she has a gift and reveals the Jizzy orchid. However, they do not recognize it and she has to face their mocking. After Aoshin passes on harsh comments, Prince Yu stands up for her consort and tells him that he is being inconsiderate of the guests. Aoshin feels disrespected and responds that not going along well with the Prime Minister may be futile in the future, but Prince Yu only cares about the present now. Suddenly, the Queen Dowager recognizes the Jizzy orchid and recalls the late king, presenting her with a blossom of one. Butterflies start gathering around to the scent of the orchid and everyone celebrates, since Baiting is insistent. Baiting suggests that before they close up the celebration, they should discuss the path for trade between the Western nation and the Empire, but Yu stops the Emperor from agreeing to this. Since Baiting brings up the subject of superior horses, Prince Yu challenges him to a horse race and reveals that the rider will be none other than his consort. Aoshin tells him not to be rash, but Baiting agrees to the race. After the servants bring over Meisha, Prince Yu is amazed that she's getting along so well with Yungsi. Aoshin suggests that they cancel the race since Meisha is known to be the fastest horse, and he orders his sorcerer to cause heavy rain. Taking advantage of the weather, Aoshin asks the emperor to come to his state and discuss the trade, but La Shuang insists that they continue with the celebration. Yungsi has a plan and commands the servants to bring her over satins and fabrics. After she makes the preparations with Prince Yu's assistance, the party continues and they have her to thank. Everyone is amazed at her talent and showers her with praise. Baiting approaches to flirt with her, but Prince Yu doesn't like it and carries her away. She is embarrassed at being taken away like this and tries resisting, but it is futile. She feels he is taking her to the bed, but instead he throws her on the floor, instructing her to put on new clothes since the current ones are wet. Before leaving, Prince Yu admits that only he can see her wet like this. After she puts on a new attire and returns to the celebration, the Emperor is happy with her and wants to make any wish of hers come true. For her, simply being useful to them is enough, and she tells him that she doesn't need anything else. The Emperor decides to bestow her generously whenever she desires so. Afterward, Aoshin tells her that they have located Zhu but warns her to not do anything rashly or Zhu will be in trouble. Prince Yu notices that something terrible is going on but doesn't inquire about anything. While they are returning, they find Qin Wen awaiting them and Yungsi immediately notices that her jade pendant is affected by demonic energy. She advises her to wear Buddha string beads for now, and once she is feeling better, visit the palace so Yungsi can treat the toxins in her body. On their way back, Prince Yu suspects that she wants to gain something from Qin Wen as well, just like her father who set up her father's murder, but Yungsi demonstrates that she isn't Aoshin. After being convinced that she is the polar opposite of Aoshin, he decides to let the argument go. Upon their return to the palace, Prince Yu orders her to be locked up again, and she is irritated that she can't even enjoy a day peacefully. Later, she opens up the gift La Shuang gave her and is overjoyed that it is a whip. Prince Yu is passing by her place when he overhears her talking about how annoying he is. Prince Yu's servant arrives at Yungsi's palace and guides her to finish her daily affairs as per Prince's orders. Yungsi isn't happy about being treated as a normal servant and wants to complain, but Quen assures her that she will do the job instead and that Yungsi can take some rest. Yungsi doesn't want her maid to be bothered by it and decides to make a whole water system to transport from the well. The other concubines are engaged in a conversation when their servant informs them of a spectacle and they all head over to mock Yungsi. However, things backfire and Lady Chu is made fun of instead. After Yunxi throws out the remarks that the prince has no vision of hiring someone as useless as her, Prince Yu overhears this and wants her to manage the palace affairs. Yunxi quickly backs up from her statement since it is too much of a chore to keep a look at everything, but is forced to take care of him in his hall. Afterward, she is assigned to sweep the courtyard and a wooden fairy tries teasing her. The flower fairy appears to scold him and, as an apology, he does the work of Yunxi. The wooden fairy notices that the withered ginkgo tree is going to die and casts a spell on it to revive, and it is vibrant once again. The four then spend the rest of the day playing with each other. Later, Lady Chu is informed about the sudden resurrection of the tree and suspects that Yunxi is involved. Her maid informs her that Taoist priests will be here in a few days. Meanwhile, Prince Yu finds out that Yunxi wasn't originally supposed to be his wife and instructs his servant to find out more about her. While Prince Yu is away, Yunxi decides to search for the ring that repels her ghost's energy. She doesn't have any luck finding it, and the other eventually arrives, inquiring why she is checking every corner of the hall. She excuses that she is just fixing everything, and she digs her own grave as she is assigned more duties. After breakfast arrives, she eats together with him before cleaning his room again. She decides to see whether he is wearing the ring and makes tea for him to get close. She doesn't find anything, and instead, the other forcefully kisses her, prompting her to run away in disdain. She refuses to leave her room, and even after Prince Yu sends her servant after her, she isn't keen on returning to his palace. On a rainy day, she asks Qua to play with her, and the two go out to gather wooden ears. Prince Yu pays them a visit, and after she loses balance on a tree branch, he quickly rescues her. Later, he once again gets too close to her and forcefully kisses her, causing Yunxi to throw a tantrum and punch him. His servant informs him about her true identity, and Prince Yu is looking forward to seeing Aoshin get punished. The next day, Yuzi is having a chat with Yunxi when Prince Yu arrives and stops the latter from sneaking away. Prince Yu tells her that he has found her secret, and the only thing she can do to make up for him is continue her work in his room. As she doesn't have any choice left, she decides to go there and causes all sorts of trouble to get fired, but he continues making her work. After the other servants get back, she is instructed to spend the night with him while he works. Once she is sound asleep, he carries her to his bed, and the other isn't letting go of him. In the morning, Yunxi is bewildered to find that she slept with him and immediately escapes. Suddenly, a demonic spirit attacks her, prompting Prince Yu to protect her from the floating stones. He cannot see the spirit. Yunxi uses her power, and the other can no longer wound her. However, he targets Prince Yu instead, and she immediately jumps toward him to save him. A magical ring appears on his thumb, repelling the demon away. As he is too injured, Yunxi immediately takes him to his bed and tends to him. A magical wound is causing him uneasiness, and as she is about to think of a solution, the ginkgo tree spirit arrives and casts magic to remove the evil aura surrounding it. After using special medicine on Prince Yu, he is able to see the magical creatures, and Yunxi introduces everyone to him. She reveals that the reason she was sent to the mountains was that she could see things others couldn't. Ginkgo tree spirit reveals that an enchantment protecting him from spirits was recently broken, and a demonic spirit will come after him. Yunxi promises to protect him and take care of him until he is fully recovered. After spending the whole night in his bed, the two are about to kiss each other when Lady Chu intrudes, worried about the prince. Enraged that she barged in without permission, he tells her to go away and never set foot in his room for the time being. Later, her servant tells her that the priests have returned from their pilgrimage and will be here soon. As the Taoist arrives, Lady Chu guides him to Yunxi's mansion, where he casts a spell to trap all the demons inside. Since Kuei is persistently trying to stop them, Chu orders her servants to beat her up. Yunxi's ghost, Sesame, is enraged that they are preying on their mansion and launches an attack on them, but the priest summons a powerful spirit to counter him. Song is following Yunxi, much to her disdain, and after inquiring why she is doing so, the other responds that the prince has instructed her. Suddenly, she senses a disturbance inside the mansion, and upon checking, she finds out about Chu's vile plan. To avenge Sesame and Quad, she unleashes a flurry of slaps against her and stops the Taoist from further harming the spirits in the area. Seeing her resilience and incredible strength, the Taoist wants her to become his disciple and decides to forcefully take her away. However, Prince Yu arrives to rescue her and fends the priest off before forbidding Lady Chu from entering the mansion again. The next day, Prince Yu announces that he will be moving to her mansion so the two can live together. Meanwhile, the demonic spirit from before informs his master about Prince Yu's whereabouts, and they plan an attack. Do you think they will topple their new foe? Let us know in the comments. For now, leave us a like and subscribe to our channel for more content.